how science and technology is low-hanging fruit in prelims. Nobody should ignore science and technology. Whether you are coming from humanity background or you are coming from science background, you both need to work equally onto that. And I'll tell you one thing, science and technology of UPSC is quite different from science that you have studied. So if we go with the today's scenario and the coming years, coming 3-4 years, so till the time you are in preparation, these are the topics you should be focusing on. Hello, this is Ritesh R. Jaiswal and welcome to PW Only IAS. I teach science and technology for UPSC and today I'm going to discuss a very important topic in this short video. And the topic is that how science and technology is low-hanging fruit in prelims. So how can you make maximum out of science and technology? So we are going to discuss this entire thing under 5 different points. And the first point in this discussion is your number of questions that UPSC is asking, right? So if you talk about UPSC prelims, then science and technology, they ask somewhere around 12 to 15 question out of 100 question. So 12 to 15 question out of 100 question is not less. It's a sizable one. So first thing, nobody should ignore science and technology. Whether you are coming from humanity background or you are coming from science background, you both need to work equally onto that. And I'll tell you one thing, that science and technology of UPSC is quite different from science that you have studied till now in your 10th or 12th classes. If you are still continued with the science in your graduation and post-graduation, still I'll tell you, the science and technology and its approach and strategy in UPSC is quite different. And then it is a kind of equalizer. Even humanity subject students should not be worrying about, because today we are going to decode that how to prepare for science and technology in a way that it can give you maximum output in terms of questions. And I'll tell you one thing, that if you follow a proper strategy and approach, then out of 12 to 15 questions, you can easily get about 10 questions correct. So 10 questions correct, you can get it. And obviously, in prelims, nobody top the examination. In prelims, the key is that you need to be just above the cutoff so that you can write them in examination. So you should not aspire to get all of them correct. The first strategy is you should aspire to get maximum out of it. And you know that out of 15 question, out of 12 question, if you are able to get 9 and 10, it's good enough. It's more than good basically, right? So that is one thing we should be knowing, that 9 to 10 question we can get it easily. The second area that we are going to discuss is, let's understand the syllabus, right? So understanding syllabus, right? And you know that if we talk about UPSC prelims, then the UPSC prelims syllabus says nothing. They simply say general science. Only 2 words are written. It doesn't make any sense. General science. I mean, general science has no description into the prelims syllabus. So what exactly general science is? So to understand the general science and its ambit, you need to analyze the past year question paper. And once you analyze the past year question paper, so after analysis of PYQs, past year question paper, we realize one thing, that general science means all the topics that are mentioned in the main examination and little more, little extra. So after analyzing PYQ, what we got to know about it, that all these topics that we are talking about, they are nothing but these are the topics. I mean, biotech and health issues, nanotech, questions are coming from there. Then you say that space tech, questions are coming from there. Defense tech, questions are there. Then we talk about IT, and computers questions are there, right? So biotech, nanotech, space tech, IT and computers, defense tech, and one more we can add, nuclear technology. Nuclear technology, right? So these are the area from where they are making the question of prelims examination. And I'll tell you one thing, all these things are already part of mains examination. So if you go with that, this is already mentioned in mains, right? This is also part of mains examination. It's there in mains syllabus, right? Space tech is there in mains syllabus. Defense tech is not mentioned anywhere, but again, you talk about internal security in paper 3 only of GS mains. So that will indirectly come into that part. This is also mentioned in mains syllabus, right? And nuclear technology is not mentioned into the main syllabus of science and technology, but because you talk about energy in the different section of the GS, so you cannot get away with that. So now we understood one thing, the general science of prelims means that all the topic which are mentioned in mains examination syllabus, that is included in that. It means the approach should be that we should focus on the chapter which are mentioned in the main syllabus and we should get good hold of it. Many people, they get confused and they think, what they think, that's a little wrong thinking. What they think, the general science is physics, chemistry and biology, right? Which is not exactly true. That's not exactly true. Yes, you see some questions are coming from biology, but then these questions are coming from either immunity, health, or pathogen, right? So that is concerned to the health sector. They're not asking any question which are coming from core biology. Core biology is like digestive system, respiratory system. They're not asking question from there. Physics, they're not asking question like Newton's law, gravitational pull, right? Acceleration, motion. They're not asking question from that area. They're not asking question from the chemistry also. They're not asking double displacement reaction or let's say atomic structure, right? So these are the area that we generally understand that general science is this, but UPSC has least interest in these areas. And UPSC is sourcing the questions from those areas. So understanding syllabus is very important and you can analyze yourself by looking into the past year question paper. So I'll give you some sample. In a third section of this discussion, we are going to decode some questions and on the basis of these questions, we are also going to decode the strategy and approach that while reading all these chapters, what we need to do for prelims only, right? So let's see the question. There is one question, 2002 UPSC Prelims question, and it says which of the following in the context of which the term qubit, you can see the term qubit is mentioned. So there is one term qubit and this term is related to any four of these. That's so one trend UPSC is catching these days, that they are just taking one important prominent term or terminology from a particular science and technology or innovation, and then they are telling the student to link this term with the related area. So all you need to, I mean, you don't need to explain qubit. You just need to tell that, okay, qubit is one terminology and where you have studied qubit, in which area the qubit has been mentioned. Let's say you are reading newspaper, magazine or content, then qubit terms would come and in which area the qubit can connect with. So this area is now, we all know it is quantum computer. So the answer is quantum computer. And now you just tell me, isn't it low-lying fruit, low-hanging fruit? I mean, it's just like any other aspirant, you are reading newspaper and magazine, you are taking care of current affairs. You just need to do one thing. Whenever you are reading current affairs, you need to put a little extra emphasis on all the new terms and terminology which are coming across it. And then you should make a framework in which terms and terminology and their associated area you need to connect it. So whenever the qubit comes, it will connect with the quantum. Qubit is the concept of quantum. So no matter what is written over here, if you get this quantum and qubit together, you link it. There you have to link it. Right? Another thing, that bit. Bit is again used in where? The bit word is used in computing system. So bit is in computing system. And bit is connecting to what? Computing. Right? So if you just use presence of mind with a little bit of the memory and understanding that you generate during the reading of current affairs, during a studying of current affairs, you can connect it. Right? I'll give you another example of it, that how it is low-hanging fruit. In 2023, there was one question, aerial metagenomics best refers to which of the following situations? Now, aerial means air, right? And metagenomics, genomics means the study of genome that is related to DNA or genome. So you need to decode the term first. Decode the term to the basic level. If you have studied the syllabus, you have gone through the current affairs, you will be able to do it. Now you just read all these things, right? The first say collecting DNA sample, DNA from the air, right? Inhabited at one go. Understanding genetic makeup of avian species. Using airborne devices to collect blood sample from moving. Sending drones to the inaccessible area to collect plants and animal sample from the land, surface and water bodies. Now you can yourself tell that out of these four options, this is the only option which looks appropriate and which connect with the term which is given in the question. You don't need absolute knowledge for it. Many a time people will go for the absolute knowledge. No, you just need hint. And that is why we always say that once you study science and technology in classroom at fundamental level, in a very, precise way, in a very tactical way, in a very, diverge way, and if you keep supplementing it with the current affairs, by keeping one thing in mind, one strategy in mind, that okay, if new terms come, we'll understand the meaning of this term. So you will be able to connect that. Aerial is air, genomics is a study of genome and the DNA, and that is how it goes. Right? So don't go for the absolute knowledge. You can always create a reference, a kind of trick where a terminology, decode it, decipher it, and connect it to the related topic. Right? I'll get another example for you. In UPSC Prelims 2022, they asked, with reference to non-fungible token, NFTs, consider the following statement. Now everybody know about NFT. It wasn't very much news during 2022-23. Even now we talk about it. Right? So UPSC has one strategy, one tendency, that if something is picking up in the current development, then they make question out of it. So don't wait for something to pick it up. When initially the things started coming in, when the NFT was coming at the very primary level, then only UPSC picked up, and UPSC has a track record of picking up those topics which are just started, it's just growing, not yet mature, but UPSC will ask it. So once you read newspaper and magazine, the small snippets, small news which appear in terms of technology and terminology should not be ignored. It should be read like a general awareness, and then you can just find the meaning out of it. So it says that they enable the digital representation of physical asset, right? They are unique cryptographic token that exist on a blockchain. Obviously, they can be traded or exchanged equivalently and therefore can be used as a medium of commercial exchange. It's a non-fungible, so it cannot be equivalent. So this is wrong, right? And it's all about understanding the terminology. If you know what is fungible and what is non-fungible, you will get to know equivalency cannot be there, commercial transaction cannot be done, you cannot put the value tag onto it, right? And obviously it's a NFT based on blockchain, because whenever the NFT is there, blockchain would be there written into the same article. So once you read the article of the NFT, the blockchain would definitely be written in the same article. So you connect NFT, blockchain, you just connect it. No need of absolute knowledge, you just need to connect all the terminology in a group, and at the same time it's a digital representation, it's a digital art, any photograph, any kind of a sketch on a computer, that can be an NFT. So what could be the right answer? 1 and 2, and eventually here the statement this A is the right answer. So again I'll tell you, the people, student who are not having the scientific and exhaustive knowledge of NFT, still they can go with that, just by understanding that what NFT mean, what this terminology is all about. That's why science and tech is low hanging fruit in prelims. I'll give you another example too. Let's say again the same strategy UPSC. This was in 2017. So this question was in 2017 if I remember it right, long back. And it was like, what is the application of SCNT, right? SCNT, somatic cell nuclear transfer technology. And you know, everybody know about it whenever you talk about that SCNT, somatic cell nuclear transfer technology, is one of the most popular technology of cloning of adult animals, right? So whenever we talk about cloning technology in classroom, in a book, in current development, in newspaper and magazine, you will realize that SCNT word will be used over there. So all you need to understand, there was an article of cloning and there was a term SCNT. Now cloning and SCNT is one bracket, and if you remember this bracket that okay, cloning and SCNT is together, you don't need to know the procedure of it. If you are unaware of the procedure, how we do it, that's a duty of the scientist, that's the work area of the scientist, not the aspirant. But terminology and its connection, if you understand, then you can simply go with reproductive cloning of animal. You can just clone the entire animal out of it. So can you look into these question paper? Obviously, like I told you, out of 12 to 15 question, if you follow the right approach and a strategy, you can get around 10 questions. It means that still there will be 2, 3, 4, 5 questions you won't be able to crack it, and it's all fine. In prelims, in science and technology, or in any subject, we should train ourselves at two ways. First, how to get the question correct, and the second, which are the questions we are going to leave, we are not going to attempt, because any attempt, any misadventure is going to attract negative marks. So there would be some question which are complex one, you won't be able to crack it, but okay, fine, no problem. We just need to cross the cutoff. We do not need to attempt all of them. If you attempt all 100, obviously prelims is going to be impossible in that way, right? Next one, the fourth area we are going to discuss is what are the important topic, right? So if you are going to discuss the important topics for prelims. So what are those important topics we should always look for in the newspaper, magazine and study material? So if we go with the today's scenario, that means today's scenario and the coming years, coming 3-4 years. So till the time you are in preparation, these are the topics you should be focusing on. These are the chapters you should be focusing on. First is biotech, right? In biotech, you should be focused on health and agriculture. Anything health and agriculture should be very important. So whenever you look into that, magazine, paper, any video you come across, you focus on that, right? The second area, which are equally important, is space tech, right? Space tech. You know that India is doing so good in space technology. So space tech, and especially the launchers and applications. These are the topics. So launches like, new launches NGLV or RLV, then LVM3, human rated launch vehicle. These all applications, all the new applications and innovation you should be aware of. So launches and applications, right? Missions and innovation. Innovation. Like we have developed semi-cryogenic engine, we have developed a scramjet engine. We should be aware of it, right? The third area that we should focus on, right? That is defense technology, right? And we know that the defense tech is going to be very important. Right now, when I'm shooting this video and when you will be watching this video, right? India and Pakistan is into, it's into war-like situation. It's a war only, right? And there, this particular incident will make entire defense technology very important. S-400, that is air defense system. So nowadays, air defense system, right? Missile power, naval ship. So naval ships, these are, not ships, but submarines also. When we say naval vessel, it's all of them. That's are very important. Anything related to defense, you should not leave, right? Next one, right? Fourth one, it should be IT and computers. IT and computers. Two things you should be take care of. One is daily life application. Daily life application. So anything that we are using in a daily life. And the second one is innovation. If something new is coming, it's just a hint. I'm not mentioning the topics. I'm just giving the strategy and approach of it. So any new innovation which has potential to change some sector of our society, maybe economy, society, way of living, that it should be very important, right? And the fifth area you should be focusing on is very important, and that is what? Current development, right? So current development. Make a habit of reading newspaper and magazine, and then you should be aware of our current development. Any new innovation which are not still picked up, you should be knowing it, right? And this fifth part I'm going to discuss separately, because that's the fifth pillar of our strategy, fifth point of our discussion, and that is how to handle current affairs. That is how we are going to make this science and technology low hanging fruit for us, right? So understanding current affairs, right? So remember, current affair has got two components. One is news component. News is something which can give you terms, and this is also very important. The second thing, the current affairs will always have a context or background of the story. Background of the story, and that is very important. So whenever you talk about current affair, don't read the news only. News can give you the current development part. What is happening on a day-to-day basis, right? That's the news part. But at the same time, there is a background story of it, context of it. You should be knowing about it. This can give you term, this can give you a story. So many questions, initially they come from terms and terminology. But here I can tell you one thing. If any innovation is there in current affair, don't wait this innovation to peak up. Before it can reach to the peak, you should be aware of it. Because the kind of question UPSC will ask in terms of terms and terminology, like Cubit and all, like I talked about, or NFT. So that is basically asked when the innovation is still in the progress, where still it is in the progress of picking up. And once it has picked up, then you should be knowing the context and the background story of the entire thing so that you can get into the a little deeper question. So if you follow these 5 points, like you understand the weightage of the prelims, have a realistic figure that out of 12 to 15 question, I'm going to correct around 9 and 10 only. And obviously there would be 2, 3, 4, 5 questions that I won't be able to crack it, accept it, because you have to be cut off just above the cutoff. Second, understand the syllabus. Look into the past year question paper, understand the syllabus, and you will realize that main syllabus is important for prelims too. Second, decode the questions and find the right strategy and approach. Focus onto the terms and terminology, and also look into the background story. And the fourth one, identify the important topics. Defense is very important, space is very important, biotech is very important, right? Even nuclear technology is going to be important because obviously we are going to get our first FBR reactor in Kalpakkam, right? So in that way, we can handle it. So that was all about science and technology and how this science and technology is low-hanging fruit. And I'm sure that not only science student, but especially those who are from humanity background will be able to make use of it.